meeting.
Sorry.
That's okay. We would like to welcome Dr. Ashley McLaughlin, Director in the Office of Communications and External Relations at Tougaloo College. Also, I just wanted to say, I think everyone should have received their renewal invoice in December, and we are hoping that everyone will renew by the end of March. If you hear of anyone that did not, please feel free to have them contact myself or Robin, and we'll make sure they get it. Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much, Corey. And so we'll move on in our agenda to the Outstanding Professional Awards. And Vanessa, are you ready to do that?
Yes.
Okay.
Each year, Pram Central recognizes outstanding professionals of the year who are nominated by fellow Pram Central members for their outstanding achievements and for advancing the practice of public relations. Nominees were asked to complete an application detailing their accomplishments, and those applications were evaluated by 3-judge panel based on career accomplishments, professional achievements, accreditation and other continuing education, and community activities. And this year we are excited that we had 3 applications for the Advanced Practitioner Award category, and all 3 nominees are exceptional public relations professionals. But we are pleased to announce that the winner of the 2021 Advanced Practitioner of the Year Award is a longtime Pram Central member who was also named to the Public Relations Society of America's College of Fellows in 2021. And it is our incoming president, Bill Moak. Yay, congratulations.
Oh, thank you so much. That is a big surprise. Thank you.
You're welcome.
I am I'm very honored to join the ranks of some of y'all who are on here. Thank you for that. It's it is a big deal, and I love this club. I love this group of people, and so that is wonderful and something I'll always appreciate.
And your award will be coming in the mail in the coming weeks, since we can't meet together at this time.
Okay. Well, again, thank you, and that's very humbling. And I appreciate the decision. Whoever made that in the decision-making process, thank you for your confidence. I also want to turn it over to Matt Westerfield, who's still our president technically. And he's going to be transitioning to our past president, which I'm sure will make him very happy. But we've had a wonderful year under Matt, and I want Matt to present the award, the President's Award. So go ahead, Matt.
Thanks, Bill. Congratulations.
Thank you.
It wasn't just one choice. It was 3 different judges scoring evaluating the application. So you just scored the highest.
Thank you. Quite an honor.
Congratulations. In addition to the Outstanding Professional Award, Pram Central bylaws state that each year the president may select a President's Award recipient, which may be presented to any board or chapter member in good standing, and it is decided upon solely by the chapter president. For this year's President's Award, I've chosen someone who exemplifies our profession out in the field, while also demonstrating a strong commitment to supporting our PR community and providing value and professional development for Pram members. This is someone I've worked with in the past, someone who taught me the fundamentals of the profession on the job, someone who set a great example to try to emulate, keeping cool under pressure, keeping the focus on relationships, never losing your sense of humor, and somebody who has always wanted to keep learning and keep growing and keep building skills. This is someone who last year took on a new job, a critical role in what turned out to be a critical time in the midst of the pandemic, probably using every tool in the toolbox to share the right information with the right audiences at the right time, which really had a direct impact on people's lives. This is someone who has served as Pram Central's president in the past, and someone who, to ensure continuity and stability for all Pram chapters, served as president of the Pram State Board of Directors for 2 consecutive years. So it is my pleasure to announce the 2021 Pram Central President's Award winner is Patrice Guilfoyle, APR, Director of Communications at the University of Mississippi Medical Center.
Well earned.
So congratulations, Patrice. I saw her name earlier. I thought she might be.
Yeah, she's here.
She's here.
Patrice, can you hear us?
She made a face.
We want a speech.
You're speechless.
Yeah.
You have anything you'd like to say?
There she is.
Oh, there you are.
Yeah,
My mic's not working. I'm sorry.
Oh,
working now.
Oh, now?
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, I was not expecting this. I'm working from home today. I'm looking a little rough. So that's why I have my camera off.
no, you're not.
I mean, oh my gosh, I'm surprised. Thank you. That was very kind of everyone. Thank you for thinking
Well,
of me.
congratulations.
Totally not expecting that. So thank you.
I've been lucky enough to attend most of the quarterly Pram State meetings the last couple of years. And it's just been great to see Patrice's steady leadership. That's a lot of work that goes on behind the scenes. But she did a great job as Pram State president, and I'm sure she's excited to be past president this year. And your trophy likewise will be forthcoming, Patrice.
All right. Thank you. I appreciate it.
I think that's all I've got, Bill. I'll turn it back to you.
I do want to do one more thing, and I have a plaque for you, Matt, and Sophie actually has that, and so we'll be sending that to you as well to recognize your hard work and dedication during this past year. You have done so much to keep us going in a very rough or very challenging time with COVID and everything. And Sophie, do you have that? You got it there, and so I wanted to make sure we recognize that. And let's give Matt a hand for doing such a great job leading us.
Thank you. That's so sweet. Thank you so much.
Well, it's well deserved, and thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. It's been great working with all of you.
Okay, well, congratulations again, Patrice. That is well earned, and you are exemplary in terms of someone that younger practitioners can emulate and look to you for leadership, and you have provided that so often and continue to. So thank you.
Thank you.
I want to turn it over now to Sophie Wolf, who is going to be our at-large member, but she in 2021 was our VP of programs, and she secured the services of our wonderful speaker that we're going to have. So I want her to make the introduction. So Sophie, it's all yours.
Thank you, Bill. There's no funner swan song here. Really excited to have David Lewis with us today, and has a lot of great information for us on how we can plug into the city's bicentennial this year. So I'm really excited to have him with us. So here's a little bit about David, and then we will get rolling. David Lewis is the Deputy Director of the Department of Human and Cultural Services for the City of Jackson. And he has oversight over its cultural division. And as part of that, he is co-chair of the city celebration in 2021. He works with the Art Center of Mississippi, the Russell C. Davis Planetarium, Smith Robertson Museum, the Municipal Art Gallery, and serves as manager of Thalia Hall, where he helped usher in a 35% increase in revenue during the 2018-19 fiscal year. He received the American Institute of Architects Friend of Architecture Award in 2018 and Visit Jackson's Summit Friend of Tourism Award in 2020. A 2015 graduate of Mississippi State University, Lewis earned a bachelor's degree in architecture. From 2016 to 2018, he pursued a master's degree in urban and regional planning at Jackson State University, while also working as a project specialist for the Greater Jackson Arts Council. Lewis is also a member of the Advisory Council for Downtown Jackson Partners. And if you have questions, feel free to put them in the chat while we're talking. I'll also put links while he's talking if there's anything important to field your way, and we'll have questions at the end. David, take it away.
Thanks so much, Sophie, and thanks everybody for having me. I'm really excited to be able to share with you guys about this really incredible moment in our city's history, and a really nice moment to really celebrate the positive aspects of our city. So, as Sophie said, I serve as Deputy Director of Human and Cultural Services and see a variety of facilities as she listed off. And I apologize if you're ringing in the background. We announced yesterday that Kevin Hart will be here in about 4 weeks, and tickets went on sale today, which means our phones are ringing off the hook. But it's a fun time. It's exciting to be back and kind of bouncing back from the harder parts of the pandemic and getting back to live entertainment and those sorts of things. But simultaneous to all of that, about 4 years ago, and even before then, when the state celebrated its bicentennial in 2017, I love a celebration. So I immediately thought, okay, how are we going to celebrate the city of Jackson's bicentennial? It's 4 years away. I can start thinking about it now. And when I started working for the city of Jackson, I asked the mayor, and he very kindly allowed me to really oversee and sort of facilitate from the city's perspective what that might look like, which is a significant undertaking. But, I was very passionate about making sure that this was done right. Traditionally, a bicentennial celebration looks like a bunch of different things, but it's got obviously a very strong brand. There's usually some sort of gala. The state opened the two Mississippi museums as a part of that. They had celebrations up in North Mississippi on the coast, and then ended it here in the city of Jackson, opening those museums. And there was that brand was all over the place. I have a set of collectible Coca-Cola 6-pack bottle Cokes, glass Cokes that they had done with the bicentennial for Mississippi. It's just all over the place. And people love a celebration. But one of the things that we want to do is really rethink that. What does that look like for the city of Jackson? It's going to be different. We can't, I felt very strongly that it didn't need to be sort of a one-time celebration or one event or one moment, especially as we faced a pandemic where things were in flux and they were always changing. And if we banked on one event and that event couldn't happen because of rising cases, then it's sort of a deflated balloon. So we were thinking about what would the citizens want to do, but also how do we adapt to the changing climate around us and actually take advantage of maybe a larger opportunity to do something totally different and rewrite the playbook a little bit if we had the chance to. So with that, I reached out to Visit Jackson and some of the partners there who are always so kind and so ready to plug in. And Jonathan Pettis and I really latched on to this and started running with it. And we started talking about what does this look like? And it became very clear that we were going to start with a brand, something that we could engage the citizens of Jackson in the creation of, but also allowed for adaptability. If we want to be a place, and Jackson is always about being a place that's inclusive and welcoming, if we want to really strive for that, we need to create a celebration that has the ability to adapt and to be inclusive, to be universal. And so we started a conversation around creating a brand, but also making it to where when we did create that brand, it was something that could celebrate who we are now and what we have that's existing and really amplify that. We wanted to create a toolkit that would allow our existing events, our existing community members, our citizens to really latch on to that brand and that image and do with it what they wanted. We didn't want to say it's going to be this gala with this promoter or this event organizer, because we want to celebrate everybody. So it can be anything you want it to be and really create an opportunity for that to happen. So we started there, but then the next phase was, okay, when is this? And that's always a big question, especially given the way that these dates fall. A lot of people say it's 2021. A lot of people say it's 2022. Depends on really who you're asking. If you're asking the state of Mississippi, it's 2021. If you're asking the city of Jackson, it's 2022. So to get to the core of why it is that way, it's very understandable. In late November, this is like right after Thanksgiving of 1821, The state of Mississippi decided to centrally locate its capital where we have it now, along LaFleur's Bluff. And then it wasn't until April of 1822 that the city was formally planned. There wasn't a city here really to, deem the capital. They had to plan it and they had to structure it. That's why downtown is a grid. That's why we still have Smith Park. That was all a part of the original city plan. And it wasn't until December 23rd of 1822 when the legislature held its first session in the new Capitol. This was 2 days before Christmas. So we said, why don't we lean into that? And why don't we say it's the whole thing? Why don't we say from the end of November of 2021 to the end of December of 2022 can be 13 months of celebrating. It allows for the both and to exist. It also allows for us to celebrate with two bookend already celebratory times of the year. Christmas, we already have a lot of celebrating going on, a lot of events, a lot of lights, a lot of action is happening in the city of Jackson, and everybody's generally very jolly during that time. And so it's a great opportunity for us to sort of, again, use the existing infrastructure of what we have as a city to create something special. So once we had established that and we vetted that with the Department of Archives and History, and we assembled a very small team of sort of an action strategic planning committee. This is made up of not your usual suspects. A lot of times we saw that these committees were, titans in business community and presidents of organizations. But right now with the pandemic, we are all strapped and we are all overworked. We're all exhausted. So I really, Jonathan and I worked together to figure out who those players were that had that capacity, but also had the ability to represent a vast majority of the city of Jackson and bring different voices to the table, whether that was different community voices or different organizational voices or work that is being done already that completely tied into what we wanted to do. So we took that team and we said, what is our theme going to be? But we really gave the logo as a development process for the citizens of Jackson. I'm gonna get to that. So the vision for the brand was that we wanted to create something that was unique and could be adopted very easily by just about anybody, but also translated at both a regional level and a national level to invite guests to come in and see what's happening. So the idea was we need local buy-in and we need national and regional recognition. And the way that I often sort of describe this is if you've ever been to Disney World and you go into a place like Disney World and the people that work there, the cast members, are just as much bought into the magic of Disney as they're selling it to you. And so that buy-in from the people who are there on the ground, it sells that magic and that experience even further, because when you're there and you're experiencing it, they're pushing it just as much as you're expecting it. And so as we start to, from a tourism perspective, from Visit Jackson's perspective, it was about making sure that this brand was something that was so exciting to the citizens that when we invited people to come see what's happening, that we're just excited here as people who may come to visit us. That's kind of a hard thing to foster, but we were ready to try to figure out how to do that. And we wanted to evoke a lot of civic pride. We wanted it, like I've said, to be inclusive and relatable. It didn't need to be something that felt standoffish or elitist. We wanted to be something that was adaptable and represented the citizens of Jackson and was a brand for the masses. It also wanted to be forward-looking. So, we're looking at who we are in the past, who we are now, and where we're headed. That was a big piece of this as well, as kind of acknowledging who we are, where we are now, celebrating who we are now, and also looking excitingly to the future. And then the adoption, we wanted to make it sure it was something that was easily adaptable, could be incorporated into anything that we're doing, anything anybody's doing, so that you could easily slap a logo on it. We could help build a brand around it, visibility around it, and use our networks and our resources to continue to promote that and promote who we are now. So with that, we next moved, and Visit Jackson was so gracious, and they got a third party to do a series of focus groups. And those focus groups were made up of Jackson citizens who were paid for their time that represented each zip code. And we were very specific because we had a few seats left, and we used those few seats to bring additional representatives from communities that were identified as not usually having a strong voice at the table. We worked with Monique Davis at the Center for Art and Public Exchange at the Museum of Art to help us identify what those communities who don't normally have a larger voice at the table, to give them space and equity in that space. And they were not asked to come up with a brand or to even talk about, they didn't even know they were talking about the Bicentennial. They were just talking about the city of Jackson, not as a government entity, but as a community. And so what we got back from them, we asked them, well, and it wasn't us that asked, it was the third party group. We said, you know, what are your feelings about Jackson? What are the hard parts? What are the bright spots? What if it was an emotion, what would it look like? If it was a color, what would it look like? If it was a shape, what would it look like? If it was a person, how would you celebrate it? How do you talk about the city to your friends and family? And how do you want to see it in the future? And so with that, we took all of that feedback and we worked with the wonderful Sean Perryman at Visit Jackson. She developed 6 logos based on that feedback that talked about things like juxtaposition, talked about gold and yellow being a bright new start, something that is both regal but also fresh and new. And the juxtaposition of both sort of this old small town feeling, but also this sort of electric and new energy of what you're seeing happening in downtown or in Highland Village or the district. The kind of juxtaposition of both of those spaces, and how do we move forward and together with that? And so we took those 6 logos and we went to a new focus group made up again of the same sort of makeup of Jacksonians. And they discussed and selected the logo that we have today, which is the one that you see before you, which is represented in a strong gold yellow. And Sean Perryman developed a really dynamic package of using both this neon yellow and golden yellow, which I don't have an image of it here, but at first I was a little hesitant on it. But what it is this very fresh and vibrant look. It's very youthful. But she also used a navy blue and a royal blue juxtaposed the gold that also speaks to a more regal and classical celebration look. And so we're able to adapt that brand and show people that we can already do that now within what we're trying to express within our celebration. And so we're really proud of that logo. And we immediately went into how do we kick this off? And so with that, we worked with the TEL agency and a lot of our other partners. And on November 9th, we weren't going to do November 28th because it was a Sunday. And I mean, it's the Sunday after Thanksgiving. We're never going to pull that off. But on Monday, November 29th at Thalumara Hall, here where my office is actually, we kicked off the Bicentennial celebration and revealed this brand new logo to the community. It was a remarkable event that the mayor was there, former Mayor Ditto was there, former Mayor Johnson was there, Speaker Gunn, the First Lady, Ebony Lumumba. We had, why can't I think of his name? He's on WJTV. Oh, he's Walt Grayson.
Walt Grayson.
Thank you, Sophie. Walt Grayson was there. And we just had this remarkable moment. And then at the end, we surprised everyone, and the sonic boom was outside ready to perform right out on the plaza. It was an amazing moment where we were able to highlight the past, the present, and the future. We were able to talk about a lot of the specific things that I'm going to get into that really make this celebration amazing. And what was perfect was that our committee had come up with an amazing theme, which is homecoming, which is very expressive of Mississippi and Jackson's hospitality sort of perspective and positioning, but also translates, right now, homecoming is a very wonderful buzzword. There's Beyonce's homecoming special on Netflix, there's Spider-Man homecoming, it's everywhere. And obviously JSU is a large part of this, and with their homecoming and that large celebration. And we knew at this point, even with this moment, that they were going to be hosting the SWAC championship in Jackson, which they then, and so it was an amazing moment for us to be able to kind of pull all of those pieces and parts together. And so it was a great kickoff that started on that Monday. And we were also able to announce that the planetarium's renovation is the city's sort of pet project like the two museums that will be its bicentennial project, which we are hoping to break ground on in this bicentennial year. And with that announcement came another announcement about from the community foundation that the Shackelford Fund was going to be giving $1 million to that project, which is the largest gift that they've given to date. So we're really thrilled about all of those energies kind of coming together to create this celebration. And of course, we had to have a giant birthday card that is here at the Memorial Hall. So if you're ever here, come by and sign it. It'll be going around all over throughout the celebration. But we wanted to make sure there was something larger than life that people could sort of make their mark on. So at the end of that week, we took the opportunity to take an event that had happened in sort of beta form for several years, which was this downtown holiday open house, and really take the energy of the bicentennial and the idea of collaboration and take it to a whole new level. So we developed, starting over the summertime in mid-July and even in August, we started to gather people who were interested in celebrating this event that we were calling Capital City Lights, which was taking all of the things that are happening downtown, usually the holidays and usually on the same weekend, and consolidating them into one big night. We worked with, the big component of this was getting the Department of Archives and History to team up with us to do their Christmas by Candlelight tour, which has been happening for decades and is a classic traditional event that happens downtown. And then we were able to pull in so many other partners. We had 30 organizations on board and all over downtown, from the Westin to the Nutcracker at Belhaven Hall to a pop-up marketplace in a storefront on Capitol Street, to the governor's mansion, all the way to the two museums. The celebration sort of transformed all of downtown that night to really kick off not just the bicentennial, but also the holiday season. And it was something unlike we'd ever seen before. I think we had roughly 4,000 to 5,000 people show up that night, which is pretty tremendous for a downtown after hours event. And what was so great about it is that a lot of these partners and players, Visit Jackson, Downtown Jackson Partners, the City of Jackson, we've all been working really hard to really transform perspective around walkability downtown and the inviting atmosphere of downtown. There's always something to do downtown. And suddenly we had this event where people were complaining because they didn't have enough time to cover all of downtown. But they were like, we walked the whole length and we didn't get to see it all. And they were like, I'm like, that's not a complaint. That's a compliment for this event, because we got you to be down here the entire time. We also got you to come down here and walk. And so we want to take a lot of these opportunities as we can. This is a great example of how we can continue to change the narrative and the perspective on the City of Jackson and open people's eyes up to what they've seen. And I'm going to get more to that later in a really amazing special that Walt Grayson did over the holidays. But it's a great testament of what happened. And it was an amazing example of how working together really does work. And I know that we all know that, but this was such an exceptional expression of that. Even with this image here, which is the Art Center, which is, otherwise a rather honestly nondescript building, that with the help of the Arts Center and the Arts Council lighting up the building and doing this whole light up our souls aspect to the Capital City Lights event. And then you have in the picture here, you have the president of the Mississippi Opera, who serenaded people with Christmas carols throughout the night and created this beautiful ambience. So even if you were coming to the ballet that night and you parked downtown, you got to experience and walk through this space. And it was such a tremendous moment for downtown and for that night. We also had the Department of Archives and History sort of pulled out all the bells and whistles and put these snowflake projections on the wall. They had snow coming off of the building and just sort of lit up all of their spaces downtown. We also got to debut the city's brand new Christmas tree, which is going to grow even taller next year. And the first family got to light it that night, right at the start of everything. And then downtown started to look a little bit more like a big city street. We had this wonderful marketplace that happened right at the downtown network. At the intersection of Capitol Street and Congress Street. And there were several dozen vendors there, and it was packed all night long. And what was so amazing about it was right across the street from the governor's mansion. And so guests who normally would just hop on a bus, go into the governor's mansion, hop back on the bus, suddenly found themselves walking out into the streets and the sidewalks because we shut down the streets. We had a giant stage that we were able to host Walt Grayson reading his Christmas story. We had JPS students with a production performing. We had all sorts of activities happening that night. The energy was so palpable that night. And then you could also see it from a visibility standpoint. Some of our downtown partners really leaned into the sort of capital city lights aspect and turned on the lights and strung up, they just went. I had the guy that the image that you're seeing here, the Heritage Building, Jeff Speed is the property owner or the property manager there. And when he heard about what we were doing, he went to Walmart and then found me later, and he had just piled his trunk full of Christmas lights. And he was like, "Is this gonna do it?" I was like, "Let's see how it goes." And so he just started stringing it up. And so it was a great example again too of people catching on to that vision based on what we were conveying. And so what was really special about all of this moment that week was that we had gone to WJTV pretty on in the early process. And we were just talking about the idea between Visit Jax and myself. We said, how can we engage the media in helping tell this story? Is there an opportunity for the media to sort of take ownership of this and do with it what they want and really take the moment of the bicentennial and tell our story? And a lot of people had spoken very highly about how WJTV was really focused on telling positive stories about the city of Jackson. And so we met with them and just pitched the idea of the bicentennial to them. And I didn't think the meeting was going to go anywhere. And he was talking about, the general manager was talking about, being a good partner and yada, yada, yada. And I said, I don't have any money. I don't have a budget for this. And I also know that the city's not going to do an exclusive contract with a news station. And, but I understand if that's kind of the deal breaker. And I just thought the meeting from there was just going to be, we like the idea, good luck on your way. And he turned around and he was like, okay, well, I'm going to call in my creative director and my news director, and I want them to hear what you're saying. And then I want to pitch an idea. And so he brought them in and he very quickly said, when the Olympics happens and NBC always sticks the Olympic logo next to their logo during all of the coverage. And they were like, yeah. And he was like, what if we stuck this bicentennial logo next to our logo every time we go live for the next 13 months? And I looked to Jonathan and I was like, is this real right now? And so they just latched on to this project and the idea of being able to tell these stories and put this brand out there because it benefits all of us. It's not, nobody owns this logo. It's anyone's logo. It's the city's logo. It's the citizens' logo. It's your logo. It's my logo. And so their creative director also immediately latched onto it. And he said, hey, we do this Christmas special with Walt Grayson. It's won a couple Emmys. We had an idea of what we want to do, but we want to scrap that entirely. And we want to focus on capital city lights. And so the next thing that we know is that we are in production meetings with WJTV and they covered this entire event. And they put it out there on Christmas Eve and Christmas Day, and I think the week before, and they put this Christmas special that was all about Christmas in the capital city. And Walt Grayson did such a beautiful job of expressing how it's important for us to stop and take a look at our capital city, which we often overlook, and acknowledge and sort of celebrate the beauty that it is. And to see this brand suddenly at the opening with these sparkles, like you see it here, this is a screenshot of that special, with that logo appearing in that special, was a pretty tremendous moment as we were trying to get visibility out for this brand. And they even did this amazing, so these are all titles from that, title blocks from that special that Marshall Ramsey drew and created especially for this thing. And so again, just seeing that visibility of that logo there. And then this is, you can see in the corner above, this is how, if you watch WJTV when they go live, this is where that logo exists. So what's so really special about that is that we have that local buy-in from even specifically a media conglomerate to say, we don't need anything out of this other than what we know is going to be good storytelling and the opportunity to really celebrate our city that we're about. Like if our message is, if they're saying, if their message is, we're going to tell positive stories, there's no reason we shouldn't be a part of this, which is amazing. And so that's a lot about kind of where we've gotten to today. but there's of course many months to come, and there's a lot of ways to plug in. And so I kind of wanted to talk a little bit about what's coming up, and then how, you know, different entities can plug in. So again, with a lot of these bicentennial experiences, we're trying to help equip what's already happening, so that we're not trying to create something new. We're not trying to spend, honestly, we're not trying to spend amounts of money that could, you know, pave a street even. We're just trying to create a toolkit of what we have and the resources that we have to really inspire and support the people that are doing this work already. So we're always willing to add and eager to add more and include more and have conversations about ideas, even if they're new ideas, about how to celebrate this bicentennial. But some of the things we have coming up that are really exciting is that we're going to be partnering with Highland Village for a king cake challenge, which is going to be really, really fun, which is on February 12th. And the mayor, along with several other local, they would not call themselves influencers, but I would say community minds who are very vocal about how they feel about king cake in a comical way, are going to be our judges. And so that's going to be a really fun day where I think Highland Village is sort of curating who's going to be creating or doing their own version of a king cake, but it's going to be a really great community event. And then at Thalliamara Hall, we are having an outstanding year. Obviously, we just announced Kevin Hart. I think he'll be adding a couple performances. We've got the return of our Broadway series. We've got more shows adding. And so we're having the return of our big banner year. As Sophie had said, before the pandemic hit, we were able to increase our revenue 35% in one fiscal year. And that's not because of any sort of special year. It was more that we took an opportunity when I came in to build our presence and our sort of visibility in the community, so people were anticipating events and looking for events. And so we're continuing that and getting right back out of the pandemic and right back into getting shows with our big banner year here. And then the St. Patty's Day parade will be, I think they'll be making announcements soon about it, will be bicentennial inspired theme. I think they're going to work the logo into like a 4-leaf clover thing, but it is all infused and a part of the bicentennial and homecoming. A really amazing, massive moment is going to be the weekend of April 8th through 10th, when the Mississippi Museum of Art is opening their massive Great Migration exhibit. And I'm not sure if y'all have heard much about this, but this is one of their most ambitious projects they've ever done. And it's in partnership with the Department of Archives and History. And they are going to be opening that weekend. And the co-chairs of the opening weekend are First Lady Lumumba, First Lady Reeves, and Robin Roberts. And so they are all going to be partnering together to do this amazing opening weekend. There will be a performance here at Thalliamara Hall with the symphony called Distinctly All-American that is woven into those events. And it is all a part of, again, our narrative around homecoming. As we talk about and learn about ways that communities and families left Jackson and went to Chicago and Detroit and New York and Brooklyn and Baltimore and Los Angeles, we're also inviting those families to come back and to learn about their heritage and to trace their roots back to Jackson. And so the Department of Archives and History announced at that press conference that we have and have been working on getting this announcement out, that they are offering travel stipends of I think $2,000 or $3,000 to family ambassadors who want to come and spend time in Mississippi to trace that family heritage back as a part of this Great Migration project. And the exhibit will feature 13 Black artists who have been commissioned to do new work that traces their roots back to Mississippi, which is such an amazing thing for us to host. And when it finishes here in September, it will then move to the Brooklyn Museum of Art, the Detroit Museum of Art. I think it's going to San Francisco. It's basically touring the country into these massive exhibits and museums all over the country to really celebrate what's being done, the work that's being done. We're also excited that we're going to be working on a 601 day. This is something I think that the city's going to try to make an official sort of claim on, which is going to be June 1st, 601. And so we've got some fun activities that we're looking for, that not to be too big of a thing, but really something where we start small and in small ways celebrate individually and within our communities what 601 Day or what Jackson means to us, so that it becomes more of a tradition rather than it being a big concert. It's something that happens that you can do on your own in some unique way. So ways to participate. We have a remarkable website, which I realize I did not put on here. Shame on me, which is 200jxn.com. When you go to that website, which Maris Weston Baker has done an amazing job of helping us put that together, there's an opportunity for you to tell your Jackson story. That may be Pram's Jackson story. That may be your individual Jackson story. That may be your company's Jackson story. We want to hear all of it. It could be an event that you run. It could be your own story. It could be a family member story. We want to hear those stories so that we can celebrate them. We're working on a project right now called 200 Souls that will be debuting in a few weeks. That's going to be a social media push that's sort of like Humans of New York, but it will celebrate who we are and who our everyday citizens are and the stories that they have to tell. So we want to hear your Jackson stories. We also are looking for anybody who wants to help brand with annual programming and events that have to do with bicentennial theming, whether that may be an event that you do every year that you want to kind of plug in and get that additional support from us on, or if it's something that explores the history of Jackson, or even starts to respond to something that Jackson may need. Anything and everything we are open to. We're also doing a lot with merchandising. We've got an official line. You can see my hoodie that I'm repping that I really love. We've got an ornament, a really cool whiskey glass. We've got t-shirts, all that Visit Jackson has been developing and is at their visitor center. But we're also going to be reaching out to local creatives and pitching this idea of the remix line to them, where we give them the tools to use the brand that we've created to make something totally new. And it's totally theirs. We're not looking for anything out of it. We just want to promote it and promote them. And so we'll be launching that soon. And then any sort of cross promotion across the social media, whatever ideas you have, we want to help celebrate. You can reach out by contacting me or the 200JXN email. I recommend doing both because my wife and I are expecting in about a month, and I will be disappearing for about a month during this. But we have a great team that's going to be monitoring that email during that intermediate as well. So with that, that's a lot of information, but that is our bicentennial as it is now. There is a lot of room intentionally to adapt and grow what this is. And so at this point, if anybody's got any questions, I'd be happy to answer them.
I don't have any questions, but I do want to mention, and hopefully I'm not speaking out of turn here, but I seem to recall also talking about the Great Migration Grants. That was so well received, they actually had to turn off the submissions for a while because the response was so incredible around the country.
Wow.
So there are a lot of people looking to come back to Jackson this year. So it's pretty incredible to hear that.
That's really, that's really amazing to hear. I know that they, when they had somebody asked what is the, what is the limit on what they can take, and they didn't have one at first, but it sounds like they may have had to make one.
I think you're right about that.
I
I also want to mention too, on the website, I know David sent his email, but also on that website that's in the chat, by the way, if you pop up your chat box, you'll see a link to the Instagram page is also there. And then if you want to submit your own story, or if you have people that want to submit a story, I know that you can do that through the website, and also add events. David, is that correct? You can add events through the website.
Yes. And it may end up, we'll say this too about the website. We are finalizing some additional pages, so it will grow very shortly. I don't know where, I was just about to pull over and see where we are. Yeah, there's still some things that are missing there. We've got some whole like history of Jackson things coming in. It's gonna come to life even more here shortly. But I think the events piece may link out back to Visit Jackson's events link page. I'm not sure where that is. That I know that Jonathan's kind of handling that. Because we don't want it to be redundant. But if it is something that is very exclusively bicentennial in the sense of like, okay, the St. Patty's Day parade has a theme that's bicentennial, or if you want to make your whole theme of an event that you may do throughout the year all about the bicentennial, then we will be making sure that that is on our website in some form or fashion.
It's the website looks fantastic. It's very simple type of design, and that is key. Very, very good job.
We're very excited about it.
And what I saw in the chat, Jan had mentioned something about growing up in Jackson, and I grew up in Jackson as well. And as any of you did, you probably got specific memories. So I'm excited about going in there and sharing some memories.
That's what we want to hear. Exactly those types of things. Anything and everything that you want to share, we want to collect that because we're going to put that out there. We're going to share those things, and we want to make sure that we have an opportunity to do that and we have a place for that. This website is going to be built kind of when we finish this as a time capsule that sort of continues to exist. So if you're ever like, I want to go back and remember those stories that I read about Jackson that was on that website. I've seen so many of those celebration websites sort of go defunct over the years. And I think it's so important to be able to keep that alive so that we have a place to go back and reference it.
That's right. Any other questions for David? Well, David, are you, your email, I think was on there on that, on your screen share a few minutes ago.
Yes.
And so if anybody's got any additional questions for David, just send them over to him. And it is great to have you here. And thank you for sharing this. It's very important for us to be doing this.
Thank you all for having me. It's a really fun project to be a part of, and I'm just here to help in any way that I can.
All right. Well, at this point, we're going to have a milestone in our club. Every year we transition from one board to the next, and we have a swearing in. And today we are fortunate to have with us Patty Wade, who has worked with the Pram State Board. And by the way, I want to also plug the Pram State Conference that's coming up. I just saw a notice about that, Patty and Patrice, just I think this morning. So you want to talk a little bit about that? About the conference?
Patrice, do you want to talk
Yeah,
about that?
I can just say that we encourage, hopefully we'll get over this latest wave of COVID and can look forward to gathering again the spring. It's in April. I think it's the 3rd through the 5th. So I encourage you to go ahead and register and come, and we're going to have a great time. And don't forget the Prism Awards. I think the early bird date is February 14th. So please submit all your good work. And I look forward to seeing you then.
Okay. Well, I'm going to turn it over to Patty now to administer the oath to us. And Patty, take it away.
Okay. Thank you for having me today. I'm so excited to be here. And David, thank you for the work that you're doing. It's exciting to hear everything that's being done, and we appreciate it.
Good to see you.
Good to see you too. I did want to say we're so proud of Pram Central. I just recently finished as my year as president of SPURF, Southern Public Relations Federation, and Pram Central is always a very active chapter that's doing so much, has had great leadership. And so we're grateful for what you do and what this group will be doing in this coming year. But it's my pleasure to install our officers today. And I will begin by naming the officers. Sophie McNeil-Wolf, at-large member, Jan Schaefer, VP of Programs, Vanessa Lowe Garcia, VP of Communications, Chantel Lott, Secretary, Robin Kennebrew, Treasurer, Corey Jones, VP of Membership, Mara Hartman, APR, Career Development, Jean Cook, APR, President-elect, Matt Westerfield, APR, Past President, and Bill Moak, APR President. So I'll read the induction to you and ask you to respond, I will, and I am are the two responses. As members of the Public Relations Association of Mississippi, a confidence has been placed in your integrity and ability by your election to these respective offices. Please raise your right hands and respond as appropriate. Are you willing to accept the office to which you have been elected?
Yes.
I am.
I am.
I am.
Will you perform the duties of your elected position to the best of your abilities?
I will.
I will.
Yeah. Will you in all your actions strive for the good of the Public Relations Association of Mississippi and the public relations profession? I will.
I will.
Now repeat after me. I will uphold and enforce
I will
uphold and enforce
the association's constitution and bylaws,
the
Association's
Association's
Constitution and
and
bylaws,
bylaws,
and will promote and support
and will
promote and
support
the purpose of the association
the purpose of the association
and follow the code of ethics
and
Follow
follow
the
the
code
code
of
of ethics
adopted by the association.
adopted by the association.
You may lower your hands. I now install each of you into the office to which you were elected. Congratulations.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Patty.
I want to recognize our board from last year. A lot of them are continuing in service. It was a difficult year last year, and as it was the year before that. And this board has been phenomenal, and it's going, as I said earlier, it's going to be a great year. Thank you, Patty, for doing that. And we have already had some great conversations about things that we want to do in this coming year. And it's going to take all of us to do this job. And I'm really just so blown away by the sheer ideas and abilities that I've seen so far. So thank y'all for agreeing to serve. Before we close, do we have any questions or anything else? I have a couple of things that I wanted to mention. Our February meeting will be on February 23rd, and we have decided to have that again as a virtual meeting. But in March, we're going to have a social event, which is going to be very exciting, and will be announced. The details of which will be announced a little later. And also, I want to recognize a visitor we have with us, Cole Benoit. Did I say that right, Cole?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So Cole is a student at Mississippi College, and we are working on some ways to engage better with our students. And Cole, thank you for being here. And tell us a little bit about yourself.
Yes, sir. I appreciate you giving me this time to speak. But so a little about myself. As he said, I'm a student at Mississippi College. I'm a junior. I'm a public relations and marketing major. I'm also our co-president of our Pram organization on campus. This was something that Pram has been involved in our campus for a long time, but that kind of died off. So last semester, me and another member, we decided to kind of take on the leadership and start moving forward with that. Our first meeting of the semester, we actually had Ms. Chantel Lott join us and tell our members a little more about Pram and kind of things to get involved. And then after that meeting, I was able to talk with Ms. Chanel for a little while. And she invited me to come to this meeting, which I'm very glad I'm here and excited about this. I think this is something I'm really looking forward to meeting monthly with y'all and getting to know y'all in any way I can.
All right. Thank you, Cole. And as Chantel mentioned in the comments, Cole is looking for an internship this summer. So let's look for some ideas for him and help him and all the students. In fact, one of the best things we can do for our students is to provide them with some opportunities to get some real world work experience. And so I'm sure this among this group, there should be some great ideas for that. Cole, thank you.
I appreciate it. Thank you.
And please tell Dr. Kusha she needs to be here.
Yes, she's a very busy woman, but
I know. I know she and I have been friends for a long time, and so one of the things that I would like to do as with our chapter here at Belhaven is to have some joint meetings and some joint events, and get the Jackson State folks in here too, because we want to make sure that our students are well represented, and to provide some opportunities for them to do that. So again, thank you for being here. Are there any other questions or anybody have anything to add before we adjourn? Oh, by the way, Dr. Jean just mentioned Dr. Ashley McLaughlin is our first new member for 2022. So welcome.
Thank you.
Good to have you with us.
With you guys.
Okay. Well, if there's nothing else, I will go ahead and adjourn this meeting, and you will be hearing about the February meeting soon. So thank you for being here with us today.
Bill, do you want
the picture?
Yeah, sorry. Do you want the board members to stay on for a minute?
Yes, thank you, Matt. I almost forgot. The board members, we want to take a group shot on Zoom here. So would the board members hang around a minute or two in the meeting so we can get a picture? Thank you. Okay, let's see, is that
Bill, you want to stop recording?
yeah, I will do that. Thank you.